Looking in my mirror, again, inside lockup slightly. On the power in second, use the turbo. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Traxion channel for another brand new video. Now, the guys and girls at Reiza Studios are at it again. We have another brand new update for Automobilista 2. It's the first of the year, but they were doing amazing things last year. There were so many updates, brilliant for the community, always new content to get their hands on, and I'm sure this year will be no different. Now, we've been covering these updates pretty comprehensively over on the TraxionGG website, but the video team, we've been letting them down a little bit because we've not really done that many videos using this game, which is a shame because I really like this game, and there's just been so much else going on in the sim racing and racing game community, it's been hard to find the time. But I need to give AMS2 another go. We need to give it some representation on the Traxion channel, and what better way to do that than firing up the old VR headset and jumping on some of this new content. In terms of the free stuff, we have the McLaren MP4-1C, which is the 1983 McLaren Formula 1 car. So this was when the cars looked like darts. You had the old Brabham dart car that PK won the championship in, and this was the car that John Watson and Niki Lauda drove. You also have a couple of generic cars that go in the same class, so this makes up Formula Retro Gen 3. You have the Formula Retro Gen 3 Turbo, and then the same car but normally aspirated. We also have two new additions to the TSI class. We have the Volkswagen Polo GTS, and we also have the Volkswagen Virtus GTS. As well as the free content, you also have a number of general updates across the board, so the usual stuff like physics, UI updates, graphics updates, sound updates, but probably most importantly there is a new G-Force update which tries to replicate G-Forces when you're in cockpit camera, a little bit like what normally happens anyway with the helmet camera, but now it's going to happen in the normal cockpit camera too, so that is all very cool. If you want to see a full list of everything that's been updated, by the way, you can find that on the Traxion.GG website. The most exciting part of this new update for me, however, comes in the form of the new Formula USA Gen3 car. Now, back in the start of December, we had a new DLC pack called Racing USA Part 2, and this contained cars from the 1998 kart Champ Car season, as well as Watkins Glen and Cleveland Airfield as well. Now, this DLC pack was meant to have a little bit more to it, and these things have been added over time. And now, finally, in January, we have received Gen 3, which is the 2000 kart season, as well as a new circuit, Road America. And that is what I'm going to try today. I'm going to race the cool green Reynard from the 2000 kart season around Road America. I'm just going to do time trial, set some lap times, and see how quickly I can go. And I'm just so excited for this because I've not actually driven any of this Racing USA Part 2 DLC, and I just want to see how far the physics and the feeling of AMS2 has come in the past few months. Okay then, here we are on circuit. Now, I can't quite remember who was driving for this team in 2000, whether Dario Franchitti was still driving for them, whether it was Paul Tracy. We had Parker Johnston drive for this team before as well, but I've been very much looking forward to this. So we're going to blast up the hill to start our first lap at Road America. This thing sounds absolutely incredible, and it's such a cool experience driving these types of cars in VR because you just get to experience that visceral feeling that they would have done in real life. Obviously not nearly to the same extremes without the G-forces, but visually it's just epic. Heading into turn 2. Oh, missed my apex there a little bit. Now, I need to try and get used to how much downforce this car's got, of course. It's not going to be huge. These cars were pretty much brutal. They're 900 horsepower there or thereabouts, and fairly tricky to get around the corners from what I could see. Nice and neat and tidy through there though. That's fine. Boost of power. Missing the apex again. Oh, got the power a bit too early there. Ah, we've already had a spin. That is somewhat unsurprising. Need to get some heat in the tyres, I think. I've not really played enough of AMS2 to know exactly how everything works in this game mode, whether the tyres and brakes are going to be heated up beforehand, that lap's invalid, or whether you're just going out on cold stuff, but I'm going to just try and ease my way into it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the sequential shifter that this car had, so I am using paddles. That is something I'll need to get upgraded on this rig. Let's see, can we take this corner flat out in 6th gear? No problem at all. Hard on the brakes, you can fully press the brake pedal, just about get away without a lockup. On the curb, give it a boot full of power. Through the left-hander where many people have been off before. And coming into the last corner, I'm going to hit the apex. Ah, no, I was a little bit too quick, so compromised the exit. This just feels absolutely awesome. You don't quite feel the suspension and some of the bumps and the movements quite as much as you do on some of the more hardcore sims. Obviously AMS2 is a hardcore sim, there's no doubt about that. It is realistic, the physics are good, but it to me always feels just slightly more accessible than the likes of iRacing or Factor 2. But I mean, straight away, in a car that's very difficult to drive with none of the assists on, I feel like I can actually get a feel for it and get up to speed. And the sound is just the best part. A little bit of a lift through the kink, use a bit of curb. Road America is such a high-speed circuit. It requires so much strength to get these things round. I can't imagine how difficult it must have been to maintain your levels of strength for the whole race. Your arms would be absolutely knackered. Your ribs would take such a battering. That was much better through there. Oh, probably could have stayed in third gear, gave it a bootful in second, and it didn't really like it too much. But we're slowly now, as we come to the end of our second lap, beginning to get a feel for this car and what it's capable of. It kind of does what I expected in that at high speed it's got a lot of downforce and it can actually carry a lot of speed through these corners, but at low speed you do just begin to feel that understeer and it washes out a little bit. One of my favourite things about AMS2 has always been its accessibility with VR as well, because some games are really not that straightforward to get set up with VR. They feel a bit cumbersome, the menus aren't very intuitive, and this game is just so easy. It's as close to plug and play as you could possibly get with virtual reality. And graphics wise it looks great as well. That is a horrible way to enter that corner. It actually looks incredibly sharp considering, I mean, this is an Oculus Rift S, so it's not the newest headset. There's a lot more modern options out there and a lot more expensive options out there as well. But honestly, even with this Rift S, this game still looks fantastic and you can still have an incredible experience. I set up one of my colleagues here at Traxion HQ on this headset earlier to give it a try just to make sure it all worked, and it was his first time racing in VR and he was blown away by this car on this game with this headset. It's still a phenomenal experience if you haven't yet done it. Now to brake a little bit earlier, we're going to brake at the 300 board. You can brake really hard in this car without locking up, which is very impressive. You just have to be that little bit patient on the throttle on the way out. Now, as a Scotsman born in 1997, you can understand why I never watched any kart or IndyCar growing up. Like, we never had access to it on TV here. I was too young really to enjoy this era. I didn't start watching motorsport till I was about 6 or 7 years old in the early 2000s, so I missed this. But the amazing thing about YouTube is that you can go back and watch pretty much every kart race, every champ car race that has ever happened. The archive is incredible. So a few months back, actually, say that a few years back now, I went and watched every single kart race from 1993 onwards. Now that sounds a bit sad maybe to some of you, but honestly the racing was incredible. The excitement in terms of the championship battles, you never knew who was going to win each week. The battle between the manufacturers, the engine suppliers as well. It was incredible. Right, let's try and do a fast lap. Nice and clean, nice and fast. We're going to brake 300 board here. Third gear, in on the curb, on the power. Using the exit curb nicely. Brake a bit early for the slower corners than I think I should. That is going to be the tactic, but that was okay. A little bit lazy on the entry. The car just wouldn't quite get turned in, and I understeered wide a little bit. Going to keep it absolutely floored down the hill. Now I'm going to have to brake a bit earlier than I usually do here, because I keep on missing the apex. Bit of a lock up. Oh, bit sideways on the power. Use the exit curb. Now again I'm going to have to keep it nice and gentle through here. I've understeered wide. No. Oh no. That's the lap time gone. We'll keep it going though. Made it in for the curb that time. Through the tricky long right. Try and keep the nose in. On the power. Use the downforce. There we go. Slightly better. Still nowhere near good. Just about keep it flat through that one actually. Down to third. Avoid the lock up. Snatch the inside tyre a little bit. I'm just not getting that last corner right at all. Right, come on, we'll try one more. Hit the curb nicely on the power. Bit of a wiggle. That is such a slow corner. Finally got it almost right. Little lift through here. If you keep a bit of power on an AMS2, it generally does keep the car in a little bit. Oh no, too deep, too deep. Rubbish. Not a great lap, but either way, we'll come to the end. Are we going to make the apex? No, I've turned in too early. Used almost all of the exit curb, and, well, actually did use all of it and a bit more. Cross the line. It's going to be sub 140. We're going to pull it into the pits. Didn't quite get it slowed down in time, but yeah, that is the new 2000 Reynard from the kart series around Road America, and I absolutely loved it. We're going to do a quick race now to finish things off, so I'm going to jump in the Lola this time, the Chip Ganassi inspired Lola. Okay, that's all set up. Let's give it a try. Okay, so we've got a rolling start from the back of the grid. Looks like my teammate's alongside me. And we're underway. Now, I don't know if this Lola is going to be much different to the Reynard. I can't imagine it is, because these cars were very closely matched at the time. I'm going to brake nice and early into T1. Don't know what kind of level the AI are going to be, so just going to try and pick my way through one at a time. I'm on a completely default setup as well, by the way, so the AI at this difficulty are able to change their setup, so we'll just have to see if they're competitive. Oh, I tried to get the power down very early there. Massive tank slapper. Okay, we should be able to make some positions into this hairpin, because yeah, I should bunch up a little bit. I'm being blocked down the inside, I'm going to go down the outside. Being squeezed out a little bit as well. Someone spun it. Oh well. Got some clear track ahead of me then. We're going to try and catch up with that big pack ahead of us. That was a bit sketchy in there. Touched the grass in the braking zone. Okay, coming to the end of lap 1. We're catching up with the group in front of us. That's the top 10. Nice to have a bit of clear air to just get comfortable. This car does feel similar to the Reynard so far. Hard to tell the difference really, which is pretty much what you want. Back down to the action zone. Gonna brake as soon as I see that first board. Oh, someone's locked up, someone's spun off. That's gonna be P10. Got one of the blue players' cars ahead. Try and get a good exit. These kart champ cars are just so brutal. They're not like Formula 1 machinery. They're a lot more rudimental. A lot louder as well. Especially than the modern cars. Okay, cars in the late 90s with the V10s were hugely loud as well, but these things are absolutely brutal. You know, just to think that I can sit here in a modern simulator and drive this car around Road America in VR. If you'd have told me that when I was a kid, I wouldn't have believed you. It's just so cool to be able to sit here and kind of experience this, albeit, okay, you're not getting the movement and stuff like that if you're sitting in a non-motion rig, but still, it's just absolutely epic. And I almost hit the apex. Okay, I've got just over 2 laps to make more progress here from P9. There seems to be a battle up ahead of me. Is he going to go for a move? I'm just going to brake nice and late. Bit of a lock-up. Just about got it in, use the throttle to try and bring the car in. Almost lost it, just being so aggressive. Missed the apex for the left-hand kink, but we've gained a little bit more time. So P7, with 2 laps to go, is definitely on the cards. I can see that group ahead of them as well. Those two in front of me are properly going at it. Using a bit of grass there, I actually followed him. Oh, they're going defensive. I've missed my apex completely because I couldn't see it. I'm not quite driving the way I should be to get the most out of AMS2 at the moment. Oofed. A little bit of a lock-up. We're still side by side. That's when VR racing really comes into its own. And that is P8. Gonna try and get it turned in for this bit. Okay, we've slowed each other up a bit, but it's a position gained. Bit of curb on the inside. Looking in my mirror. Again, inside lock-up slightly. On the power in second, use the turbo. And that is P8. Can we get one more? The later you brake, the more you're going to compromise your exit. Like that. Got Adrian Fernandez a couple of cars ahead. But no, it's too much now, too late. Absolutely floored through there. Last corner is where I'm really struggling to get the nose in. Bit of setup work required. Out the final corner, it's going to be 8th place. Yeah, it's good fun. Really, really good fun. Come across the line. And we're on to our cool down lap. So that is my first taste of these kart cars in Automobilista 2. And I'm very impressed. There's still something for me that's just fundamentally slightly off with the feeling of AMS2. It's just that you can't quite feel the bumps in the road, the suspension, as much as you might do in some other sims. I don't know if it's actually the tyres maybe that it's lacking the feeling in. It's something that just makes it feel a little bit more rigid than it should. However, you can still generally apply normal racing logic And the car does give you a lot of feedback. We've just crashed into each other, that's very good. And honestly, I've got to say, I really like this sim. I really do, because you can just jump in it, you can just fire it up and give it a go. You don't have to have spent hours setting it up and getting used to everything. And that's something that I feel is lacking with a lot of these top sims. This is just so easy. And, you know, if everything could be this easy, we'd be in a great position, we really would. So that is going to be it for our AMS2 update video, but I want to know if you guys are enjoying the new content as well. Are you loving the fact that Reiza Studios are just throwing stuff at you every single month? Please make sure to let us know down in the comments below, and of course subscribe to the Traxion channel if you enjoyed this kind of video. If you want to see all sorts of other racing game content across a wide variety of things, from arcade games to full-on hardcore simulators, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell to see the videos coming into your inbox as they are released. Until I see you next time, thank you so much for watching, keep it pinned, and have a great day.